Welcome to our Believe in IMG series. We believe every IMG can match, so can you. What do you do if you are a 10-year-old plus IMG, you graduated 10 years ago, and you have limited USCE? Let's find out. We interviewed one of our students, and she's going to give you some tips that you may find very useful.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. We have Dr. Jayashree with us. She has a very unique profile, and that's why we wanted to interview her, and hopefully that will be helpful to all of you. So welcome, Jayashree. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Pawan. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak about myself here. I'm Jayashree. I'm a medical graduate from India. In fact, I'm a very old graduate. I graduated in 2007 with a radiology residency from India. And I have worked as a consultant radiologist over 2 years in various private hospitals in India. So that's my background. I came to US in 2013 due to personal reasons. After that, I started my USMLE journey and my application for matching, all that.
Okay. So Jayashree, let's talk about your challenges as an older graduate, an older graduate. What challenges did you feel you had?
Of course, the major challenge I faced is going back to studies, doing USMLE exams, and reading all the basic sciences that I did long back again and doing my exams. That was my first challenge. Then the next challenge was to get US clinical experience, which I couldn't actually because of my family reasons and other things. I couldn't get much. Yes. Yeah, I couldn't get much US clinical experience. And these were the major challenges that I faced. And the first challenge was studying. That was, I could overcome it by using the right resources. I searched in different forums. I talked to all my friends who've done USMLEs before, and I could gathered as much as information as possible. And then I used the resources which suited me the best. And with that, I could overcome that challenge, and I got good scores in USMLE exam.
So one of the main issues that especially older IMGs see is the USCE. So, and that was, you said, one of your challenges. So how did you overcome? Because nowadays, USCE is almost a requirement. So how did you overcome it in your application and in the interview during the discussion?
Yes, I agree that the US clinical experience is the most important thing that most of the program directors that look into your CV. So for that, initially I started trying, I wrote several emails, and but unfortunately I couldn't get much reply, and I couldn't join anywhere. Then finally I could get into some observership for 1 month, where I secured 4 letters of recommendation for my application. So that was the only experience I could get. So in application, what I did was I highlighted all my experience from my residency from India, that is in radiology. So I explained all the things that I learned and all the procedures that I learned and the qualities and everything regarding the residency. I explained in detail in my CV. And the things that I did in my observership also I explained in CV. Even though it was very small for like 1 month, but I explained everything, what all I have learned in the observership. And during interviews, I could explain it a little more better, so that like I highlighted my experience from the residency. So basically, as I have seen in other USMLEsarthi videos, the transferable skills. You can talk about the transferable skills. That is the skills that you've learned during residency that is applicable to each and every specialty. Even though your background is from different specialty, you can apply into the specialty you're applying right now. The major things that I highlighted was about the communication in various levels. Like first is the professional communication, that with the communication with the other doctors, other specialists, and how you convey, like in my case, I was in radiology, so I learned how to communicate my diagnosis to different people and how it is applied in patient care, all those things. And the major part is the communication with the patient, like how you convey your diagnosis to the patient, and you can apply it into any specialty. And talking with the family members. And the third is the communication with the other staff in the hospital, so like support staff. That is also very important in the clinical practice. Then the second thing is the leadership qualities and the teamwork that you learn from the residency. Because you might have done some leadership activity in your residency, during your residency, that you can say that you have experience in those kind of things. And teamwork always apply in all specialties. So you, as a radiologist, I was working with various teams, which involves various specialists and other support staff. So you learn that teamwork. And the third, and not the least, is the teaching that you do. That is the teaching the medical students and your juniors, and that is also important in residency, that you can apply it to here also, like how you teach the undergraduate students and the juniors. So these were the things that I highlighted.
Okay. Did they ever question that you did not have US experience? Yes, you have residency from, say, India, but US culture is different, here things are different. So how did you convince them that you have what it takes to, transfer your skills to the US environment? Was that ever discussed, or they assume that you have a...
Yes, okay. that was the question in all my interviews, like how you have got a long gap from the clinical studies, like the clinical experience. I explained it like, I frankly explained why I couldn't do much of clinical experience because of my family reasons. I had to take care of my family and kids, and I had my second child when I came to US, all that. That's why I couldn't do much of US clinical experience. Then I explained that I did an observership for 1 month in internal medicine and radiology, and through that, whatever skills I learned from my residency from India, I could apply that to US scenario, and I already saw how the patient care is being done in a US perspective. So I have some exposure to that, and I already have learned some of it, and my letters of recommendation say that too. They say that things also. So in that case, it won't be much a problem for me to adjust here, because I have already gone through the stress of the residency, and I've already completed my residency, so that it will be easy for me to apply those things and enter. Okay.
Yeah. So yes, exactly. I think you hit the nail on the head. It is more about transferable skills. It is more about those leadership skills and communication with the patients, with the patient families, with the team, how you communicate. So all those skills you already had from your Indian residency, and the only challenge was how you articulate them here and tell them that these are still relevant even if you don't have the USCE.
Yes. And of course, you have the medical knowledge because you've done the exams and your residency, all that. That is also there. That is applicable to everyone.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So, excellent. So now tell us, you have done it. Now, what are your suggestions for people in your situation, who may be away from the active medical practice for 3, 4, 5 years, and, they may not have enough USCE? What should they be doing? What should they be focusing on between now and say, September, and then in the interview?
So my advice would be, first of all, get US clinical experience as much as possible, if you can. But if you don't get it also, it's not a big problem. You can always explain it with your residency or even your medical school experience from India. Example, you highlight your the unique qualities of your medical school. If your medical school is one of the biggest or one of the top 10 in your country, then explain about that and how you get into that medical school. You can explain that. And if you've done a residency in a good place, you can explain to that also. how you got into a prestigious institution there in India. Those are like some examples. And the other thing is get good scores, good USMLE scores if possible. And the third thing is like you gather all your things that you learned from in India and you highlight all those qualities here. And you can say how you can apply that into US healthcare also, each quality. Take each quality and then say how you can apply to US healthcare. So that's my advice.
Yeah, that's great. In fact, if you can articulate all your non-US experience, then even the switch of specialty becomes easier, right? From like you transferred from radiology to internal medicine, and that makes it easier. Yeah, so that's another challenge a lot of IMGs face who may have experience in one specialty, but in the US they may be applying for other specialties. So, they may have OBGYN, residency, or radio in your case, and then applying to internal medicine or family medicine. So any specific guide? Yeah, sorry.
One more thing is that you can show commitment to the specialty you're applying. Even though you're coming from a different specialty, you can say that you're committed to this specialty now, and you can explain the reasons. Like how I explained in my case is that I was seeing a lot of physicians during my radiology residency, and I was like interested in how they manage the patients and how the treatment is done, how the follow-up is done. So I got more interested in internal medicine during my radiology residency itself. So then I started thinking about internal medicine, and after coming to US, I had an opportunity now to switch over the specialty, and now I'm committed to the specialty. You can always say that. You can always establish that you're committed to the specialty you're applying now. That is one thing all the program directors that looking for.
Okay, and I think your success is a great example that it may be difficult for older graduates. It definitely is. It may be difficult without uSCE, but it can be accomplished. I mean, you are an example of the fact that it can be done, and it can be done very successfully, even leveraging your home country experience. So I think that should be very motivating to all the others who are in similar boat.
Yes, definitely. It is very, it is still doable. That is like, don't give up. Still work on it and make your CV and explain your things properly. And all this it is still doable.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Jayashree. Is there anything else? Any last minute suggestions? Anything that we missed?
Yes, definitely. The thing is, like when you're thinking about another specialty, like when you're thinking to switch over to another specialty, always think about the possibilities and always apply widely. That is one more thing which you have to. There should not be any location constraints, or like that is one more thing like which I forgot to add earlier. Apply widely and apply to almost all possible places, and go to attend all interviews. Whatever interviews you get, attend all the interviews, meet all the people, and make connections. And always reach out to your seniors and other people who are already in the residency, and that also will help you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jayashree. Much appreciate your time, and all the best to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pavan. And I would like to add like a big thank you note to Pavan and all the colleagues in the USMLEsarthi. And it was of great help for me in interview coaching and all the suggestions you have done. And I've gathered a great knowledge about all these applications, which I never got it from anywhere else. So you guys are really helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.